Hello everyone. So in this video we would learn about different types of operators. Okay. So as per our last video, we have seen that we use subqueries and we have two types of subqueries as independent and correlated, right? And the type of operators we have is in, any, all, and exist. Okay, now there are some points related to these operators. So for independent queries, the best operators, the most used operators are best used are in, any, and all. Okay, and for correlated we mainly use exist. Okay, but it doesn't mean that we cannot use exist in independent or we cannot use in, any, all in correlated, but it's all about the most amount of use cases. Okay, and all of these operators returns either true or false, and as per that we select our query. Okay, so now let's see each and every operators one by one. First we have in operator. Okay, what it does, it shows us key whether a given tuple from our outer query is present in the set of tuples produced by inner query, IQ. Okay, what are the tuples have been produced by the outer query that should be present in our inner query, and to check that condition we use in. Let's say for an example, let's say I write x in, let's say 1 2 3 4, right? Now if x is, let's say 3, then my in is true, and simply if x is 5, then my in is false. Simple. Okay, now there are some star point we should remember, that if our inner query by any chance is empty, then in is false. In will be always false for this case, and the complement of in is non-in. So for an empty set in inner query, my in output will be false and my non-in will be true. Like whatever the in would be, non-in will be the complement, right? So it's pretty simple like that. Okay, so let's see an example. So let's say we have 3 tables. Okay, we have supplier, and if I write this table 1 2, let's say here I have SID, S name. It's not good. Okay, SID, S name, and let's say address 1 2 S1 S2 S3 S4 S1 S2 S3 S4. S name is whatever you want to give it. Okay, whatever the address. Then we have parts. In parts, let's say I have two column. One is parts ID and the color. Okay, 1 2 3 P1 P2 P3 P4, let's say red, green, red, yellow. Then we have catalog. What do you have? We have catalog. Here in catalog, SID, PID and cost, right? So S1, S2, S3 for P1, P2, P3, P4, let's say whatever the cost is. Okay, and this is my catalog, and this SID and PID is my primary key because this is present in this catalog table. Okay, now if I've been asked I need to print SID of suppliers who supplied red color parts. Okay, SID of supplier who supply red colors of parts. How would you do this? Here, first thing that you need to write key that you have supplier, right? So first you need to figure out from this parts table. So to write it, then select SID because we need SID, right? From catalog where the condition would be with PID. So else I can simply write PID in another query, select PID from parts where color is red. Okay, so in this case we'll first run this query, right? Select PID from parts. So in from parts we'll first select all the PID that is the color of with red. So we got P1 and P3. So from this there we got P1 and P3. Okay, after we get from here we need to run this from catalog. From catalog we have P1, P2, P3, P4. Now you could see that we have P1 and P3 in here. So this particular where clause is now, so this particular in is true now because from this catalog we have P1, P2, P3, P4, and in our inner query we also have P1 and P3, right? So my in operator will be true. Then we'll select SID from catalog, right? So P1, P3's SID is S1 and S3. So the output will be S1, S3. I think in this case the order of execution is the most important. So first you need to execute this one. I need to change the color to make it more understand. With the number 1, number 2, number 3, From here we got this P1, P3, then this P4, then P5, P6, and we'll get our answer. Okay, so this is all about in operator. And now we'll see of any operator. What any does, it's simple, that any operator must use with any other comparison operator. And what is the comparison operator? You have less than, greater than, we have is equal sign, we have less than is equals to, greater than is equals to, or we have not equal, it's like not is equals to. Okay, now the condition is any will be true where if at least one tuple in set in, let's say, one tuple in inner query satisfies condition. Okay, so if I give an example, let's say if x greater less than is equals to any 2, 3, 4, and if my x is, let's say what, 1 satisfies this, 1 is less than 3, 1 is less than 4, so it's true. Now if I give it, let's say, how much should I give it, 3, 3, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 will satisfy only this one, not anymore, not anything else. Still it will be true. It will be false only if x is something that cannot satisfy none of the set, none of the element within the set, then it will be false. Okay, and if my inner query is empty, then my any would be false. Okay, and then you can also say that not any will be is equals to in, right? May not mean if all is any, mean if I write it again properly, mean if the condition is like that, ki all the element of this inside clause got satisfied with this condition, mean all any operator got satisfied, that will be pretty much similar to in operator. Okay, so we are done with our any. Now we have another one, which is all. I think you'll understand what this means. It simply means ki, it like for all operator, all the condition must satisfy within this inner query. Okay, so, and it also uses comparison operator. You also need to use all with comparison operators. Okay, and all will be false if at least, even if at least one condition does not satisfies. Okay, so let's say x greater than all 1 2 3. Okay, and if now I say okay, x is 2. Okay, so this does not satisfy not 2. Let's say 3. So 3 does not satisfy this 3 one, so it will be false. So to satisfy that, I have to pick something that will satisfies all the conditions. So I need to pick 4, then it will be true. Okay. And but for all, you need to understand that if inner query is empty, my all value will be true. Okay. And there's another thing, that not in is similar to not all. Okay, and the last and final one is exist, which is pretty simple. If the tuple from outer queries exist inside our inner query, that's it. Okay, and for exist, it's true if set is not empty, and exist is false if set empty. Okay, let's see it with an example, some better example. Let's say we have this catalog and we have a parts that I have used in the previous example. I have my SID, my PID, my cost. I have S1, S2, S3, S4, P1, P2, P3, P4. I have 60, 40, 30, 20, multiple things. Then in parts, I have PID and color. I have P1, P2, P3, P4, and we have red, green, red, yellow, right? Now here, let's say I want to print all those red parts with exist operator. Okay, so what I can do, simply write select SID. And why I'm saying C, there's a reason, because we'll see this in our next video where we can rename any particular table. Okay, so here from catalog, I'm renaming it as C, so that it will be much more easier to write the whole query. Okay, so from catalog C, we have to select C.id, where the operator comes as this exists this query. Select star from parts P. We are also renaming this parts table as P, where P.PID is equals to C.PID. Mean we have to that the tuple from catalog that is coming toward this inner query. I mean, if you see that C.PID mean this P1, P2, P3, P4 is gotta be equal with P.PID. So if P1, P2, P3, P4 is equal with P1, P2, P3, P4. Okay, I mean I'll explain this. Let me first write the query. And P.color is red. Okay, now see what's gonna happen first. First we'll execute this one from catalog C, right? Let me change the color. So we first use this clause from catalog C, Okay, where exist select star from parts P. We are collecting this one from parts P. This is our 2. So we are taking this tuple and we will compare this with all of them. Okay, so where p.pid is equals to c.pid. So c.pid is p1 is equals to p.pid. So this one matches. And what's the p dot color? Red. So we'll select this one. So we'll select p1 from here. Okay, then again p1 p2 doesn't matches, so it don't work. p1 p3 again it don't work. p1 p4 again it don't work. p2 p1 not matches. p2 p2 matches but the color is green, so let go. p2 p3 again no match. p2 p4 again no match. p3 p1 no match. p3 p2 no match. p3 p3 match, also the color is red, so we'll pick p3 as well. Then p3 p4 doesn't match. p4 again no matches. Okay, now we got our p1 p3. From this we will be selecting c1 c dot. So okay, so as this p1 p3 exists in our inner query, this exist is now true. Okay, thus we will select c.cid from our catalog table. So for p1 we have s1, for p3 we have s3. So the final answer comes s1 s3 that have supplied colors red. Okay, so these are the some description of all these operators, and yeah, that's it. In next video we will learn about the as and with clause, and we use as and with clauses to rename our table with some different aliases, so that when you write some big query it will be much more easier for us.